Hey guys, what is up? It is Jason Flego here, and I am in my studio. And I wanted to come at you live because I wanted to ask a question. How do you guys stay positive on a daily basis? What are some things that work for you? What are some things that you found that work really well? And what are some things that you have tried and might not have worked really well? Because the last this last week I was kind of going through um, I guess almost depressed kind of status where I didn't feel very good. Was kind of I've been trying things, a bunch of different things with my business, reaching out to clients to try to generate business, and all of the opportunities essentially fell through. So I kind of felt really down, and I really wanted to get back into a status of trying to figure out how I can stay positive and motivated on a daily basis. So if you guys could please comment on some things that you found that really get you motivated and excited on a daily basis, because I can share with you guys a little bit of the things that I found over the last few days that have really helped me kind of get back in the groove, so to speak. So I made a goal recently to get back into shape because for those of you who know my background, I was, a pretty good swimmer, and I grew up swimming. My brothers are actually, some of the best swimmers in the country. And over the last few years, I kind of let my health slide a little bit. So I've made like a daily stride to exercise at least once a day. I've been trying to do 2 times a day. But when I get really down, I found that I exercise. I run, 3 to 4 miles a day, and I usually turn on like I found a really awesome YouTube channel. I actually gave a talk at a leadership conference that the business leaders of Central Ohio put on, talking about how to stay motivated. But I shared the Lion of Judah. Is one of the best like YouTube channels I found that shares daily motivational content out there. So it's from a biblical perspective, a Christian perspective, but they produce amazing content that really pushes people to do their best. And of course, getting back into shape, I've been really focusing in on that warrior kind of mentality that we were created for more. We were created to do and be more than that kind of little voice that speaks negativity into our lives. So I've been really focusing in on a few things. The first one is journaling. So every day I've been waking up early and looking at some of my goals that I've set. And Tim Ferriss, I actually learned this from Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4 Hour Work Week. But he goes through quarters of the year and he creates what's called dream lines. So the idea is you've got your big dreams that you want to accomplish in each quarter. So you actually write those physically down on a piece of paper, and daily you look at what are those goals that you want to accomplish for each of those quarters, and try to figure out how do you take daily steps to accomplish that goal. Thanks, Shauna, you just mentioned the gratitude journal. Thanks for that shout out. I actually haven't heard of that, but it definitely sounds like a great resource to check out. But yeah, so the Dreamlines with Ferriss, I look at that on a daily basis. I read scripture, and then I actually do a 30-minute HIIT workout, a high intensity interval training workout. And I've been doing that in the morning, and it really like energizes me for the day. And then, I've been seeking out like business mentors to kind of help hold me accountable from some of my business goals. So having accountability partners is so important, especially for like mental, physical, and emotional health. These particular mentors I met with today are local business leaders, and we were kind of talking about some of our challenges that we were facing, and really at the end of the day, trying to help each other and encourage each other to continue moving forward. It was so amazing. I'm actually thinking of doing like more live videos like this as almost kind of like a mastermind, where people can kind of ask questions on, what are some of the challenges that you're going through? How can we work together to encourage each other? Because I think in the age of social media, we get distracted and think, everyone's life is perfect, but it's not. I mean, I just admitted that I was going through a kind of a spell of depression, and feeling bad, and it's okay to admit that. Some of the best leaders I've worked with, like the John Maxwell Company, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, amazing leaders. They lead you lead effectively through being vulnerable. People like you, people trust you, when you're really vulnerable and willing to share, some of the things that you're going through. Otherwise, how can you help each other, kind of accomplish the goals? I think that was one of the biggest things I actually learned from being on a team. When I was swimming, we all pushed each other to be better, not just physically, but also, emotionally and spiritually as well, which I think, for some reason, a lot of people have the tendency, especially in the being an athlete, they have the tendency to leave out the mental and spiritual component. But holistic health is so important because it's that idea of a balance where you can kind of stay focused on, balancing everything. Being a new dad, to Alexandra has been amazing, but it's also been really stressful as well. So, I'm just trying to figure out and ask you guys, what are some of those things that work, that have worked for you to stay positive? I see Jared Dubler. Hi, Jared. Great to see you commenting. Eric, comment, work in a place where, negative environment. That's, yeah, very true. I mean, I work, going over to, a place where there's people who you bring life in, to into work with you. Unfortunately, that's kind of the world we live in. So let's see, do the daily journal, stay physically active. There's times when, I don't want to get on a treadmill, or I don't want to go run, or I don't want to do like Insanity or P90X. But as soon as you start going and really dedicate yourself to pushing through, you feel so much better after going through that process. It actually, it gives you, those kind of like micro wins. If I think that's the right way I'll describe it. But it gives you little wins where, it continues to push you on a daily basis. And after a while, you realize that by taking those daily wins, you've accomplished like a bigger win. So you're that much closer towards accomplishing your goal. So, the daily journal, keeping focused on what are some of the daily steps you're taking towards accomplishing your goal, staying physically active. I actually, in my calendar now, have dedicated family time where, I am off the grid, so to speak. I don't check any, I don't respond to any emails. I don't, work on the computer, because we can get inundated with so many notifications, and it's important to kind of check out and unplug, so to speak. And then, I've been going through some of the books that I've read that have been really good. One of my favorite books is Love Wins, by Francis Chan. And it really helps you go through a process of figuring out, life purpose, and understanding, the kind of purpose to the whole life, your whole life, and figuring out what's going to work for you. How do you want to connect with other people and share value to them? So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to do an impromptu live video, ask you guys how you stay positive on a daily basis, because it's tough. And I think one of the biggest things too, I guess I wanted to share is, if you're feeling alone, you're not alone. All of us together can encourage each other. One of my friends, Kevin Shen, over in San Francisco, California area, he's got a YouTube channel where he said his goal is to try to give people a hug through the videos that he does, which I think is so awesome because, technology, I think, has only enhanced, the negativity in our world, where I think we should try to use technology to encourage other people and overcome some of those negative things that is happening in the world. So yeah, I mean, Jared Dubler just mentioned try to work hard to develop good work relationships. There's been times when I haven't been feeling very good myself, and I have made it a priority to go ask other people if I can help them out. And that has actually really, yeah, I benefit the person that I'm helping out, but at the end of it, I feel even much better because I had that little um, desire and put forth the effort to have someone feel better. So, that might be something else to kind of try if you're working in a negative environment. I'm trying to remember who said the quote, but if you want friends, be friendly. So that whole idea, if you want to try to feel more positive or have more of a positive outlook, go be positive and encourage other people and see how that works for you. That might be something else to kind of try out. But yeah, good work relationships are so important. Again, focusing in on the negativity is not the way to go. We can accomplish so much more by working together rather than, kind of working apart and focusing on, nitpicking all those little differences, which never helps anyone. So why don't we encourage each other rather than, kind of tearing each other down? But yeah, and I'd like to end the kind of live video here with another question for you guys. Is there anything that you would like to see more content about? I mean, I like this idea of kind of doing this, asking you guys questions, figuring out what has worked for you in particular topics. I've actually been thinking of doing, some other like leadership talks, figuring out, how to find a mentor, how to stay accountable to some of your goals. Again, I mentioned my goal is to get into better shape. And actually, one of my the co-host of the Grow Like a Pro show, Adam Bankhurst, and I, we were actually talking about this. How when we were when we were in younger doing our particular sports, we were in so much better shape than we are now. And I'm trying to get back into that. I felt so much better, and by having that balance of mental health, spiritual health, and physical health, you just feel so much better. And you just, again, kind of that warrior mentality I mentioned, you feel better and more positioned to take on, the challenges that you're facing. So, yeah, yeah, Shauna mentioned goals are so important. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Goals are so important, but if you're not accountable to them, they can kind of just sit on paper and nothing can really ever get done, which is, no one really wants that. I mean, what's the point of writing them down unless you're kind of taking steps to accomplish them? And everyone's different. Like for me, I feel I feel like I can be accountable to myself and make sure that I'm trying to accomplish those goals better. As long as I'm daily staying accountable to them. Other people need an accountability partner or even a group. That's why there's a lot of Facebook groups out there that kind of are dedicated to particular niche focuses. Like in Columbus, Ohio, there's the Dublin area networking group. Chris Borja is a good friend. He created that group to bring people together, as business owners, encourage them. There's other like physical activity, exercise groups out there. I just connected with someone who started a brand called Pump the Bump. Which is really cool. It was started focused around the idea of, helping pregnant women exercise, but I see it as so much more potential. Erin Galloway is actually the founder of that, connected with her, amazing leader kind of in that space. But again, having people to connect with, I think we can feel so alone and cut off sometimes, but it's really important to kind of get out there. Again, if you're looking for friends, go out and be friendly. Being younger and have been able to work with people like the John Maxwell Company, Ziegler Corporation, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and so many other people. A lot of people have asked me, how have you done that? I actually just call or send emails or messages to people and just ask, like, hey, I saw that you released a piece of content about, something, whatever it was. And I usually ask, hey, what can I do for you? Or because I've studied them and I know kind of what they're looking to do for the future, I'm like, hey, I can help do this for you for free. And by doing that, like willing to work for free and add value to them, it kind of catches them off guard. So if you want to do something, like just start. Adam and I on the Grow Like a Pro show, we talk about that too. It's like, we started a video and a podcast audio show, and we're not experts by any means. You listen to some of the episodes and you can kind of tell that, but then other times people are like, wow, you guys are professionals and, are obviously experts. And every time I'm like, honestly, we don't really know what we're doing. We're just being ourselves. And that's another thing to think about is don't try to be someone that you're not. Be true to who you are, be authentic, because that really people when you're not being authentic, people can see through that. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to be successful by not being who they really are. Some of the most successful people, again, some of the people I've worked with, I've worked with two billionaires before, and they are just who they are. They're authentic to who they are. They don't try to be someone that they're not. And I think that's really important too, especially for staying positive, because when you look on social media, especially like on Instagram, I think it has a tendency to be like really, like I don't know, like it's kind of fake sometimes, and you get this idea that other people's lives are so much better than yours, when in reality, everyone's going through challenges too. But it's that idea again. Reflect on where you want to go for the future, and then ask yourself, what are you doing on a daily basis to get there? And then find other people to connect with that are driven and are wanting to go to maybe a similar place as you. Again, being an entrepreneur and building up different platforms and serving businesses and other individuals, I want to seek out other people who have similar goals as myself. Because I think that's so important to connect with other people who are like-minded. And again, you're pushing each other to become successful. What is that? The 300, the Spartans, when they defended themselves against the Persian army, 300, I think, again, defended themselves against 10,000 Persian people coming down through like the valley. Like what, how they did that? It was because they worked as a team. They encouraged each other. They stood as one. So, again, if you're struggling, you're facing some negative situations, connect with other people. Ask them for help, ask them for advice. Again, that's another big thing. If you have someone that's kind of in a position you admire or really want to be in, ask them for advice. So many of these people who you would think are untouchable. I listened to Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income podcast, or Eric Sue and Neil Patel from the Marketing School podcast. Some of these people you would think are like unreachable, but if you reach out to them, interact with them on social media, send them an email, and just ask for advice, most of them are like really willing to give advice to people, because they were in a position maybe like what you're in right now, where you wanted to do something, you wanted to try to build something, release something, do something kind of amazing for other people, but you didn't know how to do it. So they are always willing to give back. Same thing with me. I would say I have accomplished anything great, but there's some things that I've done where I'm proud of, and people ask me, and I'm always willing to give free advice, or something that I can be beneficial and add value to the lives of other people. So yeah, I mean, I'll end this real quick here, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. But if you're watching this at a later time after I'm live, please comment on the comment section. How do you guys stay positive on a daily basis? And then, I'd love to know, what are some other things that you would like to learn more about or hear me kind of talk about? Really want to focus on making a social media platform a place to encourage other people, lift up other people, and release positive content to help all of you because again, the world is full of negativity, and we don't need more negativity. We need to be encouraging each other. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and remember, guys, to keep moving forward. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye bye.